Allison-equipped vehicles use a variety of shift selectors, including electronic push button, electronic lever, and mechanical lever. Electronic push button selectors default to neutral during startup. Lever selectors must be in the neutral position or the engine will not crank. Once the engine starts, electronic selectors display N, indicating the transmission is in neutral. When drive is selected, the transmission shifts automatically based on throttle position, vehicle speed, and engine load. During high throttle, high engine load conditions, upshifts occur later and power downshifts occur sooner compared to lower throttle and load conditions. If the transmission senses less throttle and lower engine load, it reacts by upshifting more quickly at lower engine RPM and downshifting smoothly as the vehicle slows. Experienced operators are aware of how the throttle influences transmission shifting, and they use that to their advantage. The highest available range can be changed using the down arrow button or by repositioning the lever. This can help limit vehicle speed in slick or low traction conditions. The transmission will not upshift beyond the selected range unless an overspeed condition exists. This feature is also helpful if conditions cause a hunt or cycle between two ranges. Choose the lower of the two ranges to eliminate the shift cycling. A lower range also enhances engine braking in good traction conditions. Be prepared. Downshifts to the selected range may occur at higher than normal engine RPM. Return to drive on lever selectors by simply repositioning the lever. On push button selectors, arrow up to the highest available range, or simply push the D button. Bring the vehicle to a complete stop. Apply the parking brake, then select neutral or park prior to shutting off the vehicle or if the engine will be idling for an extended period of time. When idling, the transmission and vehicle cooling systems are most efficient if the transmission is in neutral. Selectors typically include D, N, and R positions for drive, neutral, and reverse. Shifts into and out of a moving range must be made from the neutral position with the engine at idle. A flashing digital display indicates that shifts are being inhibited. Direct range-to-range shifts and excessive engine idle speed are just two examples of shift inhibits. Reference the appropriate operator's manual for a complete list of potential inhibits. If the inhibit cause is temporary, reselect neutral, then reattempt the shift. When drive is selected, electronic selectors display the highest available range. Allison transmissions can include 4, 5, or 6 forward ranges, depending on model and electronic programming. Warning indicators might include check transmission and range-inhibited lights. The check transmission light notifies the driver that the transmission is not performing as designed. The vehicle may continue to be operated, but service advice should be sought promptly. The range-inhibited light indicates that shifts are being restricted. The vehicle may continue to operate, but this limited operation should be used to get the vehicle to a service facility only. Seek service immediately. If the range-inhibited light illuminates, or if the electronic selector display flashes while the vehicle is moving, the transmission may lock in a specific operating range. Find a safe place to pull over. If the engine is stopped and restarted, the transmission will likely be limited to one forward range and reverse. Electronic push button and lever shift selectors include a mode button. Any of several features might be programmed on the mode button, including secondary shift schedule, which typically toggles the transmission between normal and economy modes. The transmission attains normal mode when the vehicle is started. Push the mode button and the transmission goes into economy mode and reacts by maximizing shift efficiency. The light indicates the transmission is in economy mode. Push the mode button again to return to normal operation. Electronic shift selectors can display transmission system diagnostic codes. On push button selectors, press the up and down arrows simultaneously once. Press the buttons twice if the vehicle is oil level sensor equipped. On lever selectors, push the display mode button once or twice if the transmission has an oil level sensor. The selector displays up to 5 codes, starting with the code position D1 for the first code, D2 for the second, and so on. Press the mode button to move to the next code in the list. Write the codes down so they can be forwarded to service personnel. An attempt can be made to clear codes by pressing and holding the mode button for at least 10 seconds. If code-causing problems still exist, codes will reset and shifts will again be restricted. On push-button selectors, the transmission returns to normal operating mode when codes are cleared, or select neutral to exit the diagnostic mode. On lever select, check the transmission fluid with the vehicle parked on a level surface, engine at idle, the parking brake applied, the wheels chocked, and with the transmission in neutral or park. Remove the dipstick, wipe it dry, and reinsert the dipstick in the fill tube. Remove the dipstick and check the level. The fluid must be within the cold run band when the transmission is below normal operating temperature and within the hot run band once the transmission reaches normal operating temperature. Check the level more than once to ensure an accurate reading. Add or drain fluid as necessary. Electronic shift selectors can include an optional oil level sensor that enables checking the fluid level from the vehicle cab. Again, the vehicle must be parked on a level surface, engine at idle, parking brake applied, with the transmission in neutral, and the transmission must be within the normal operating temperature range. On push-button selectors, push the up-down arrow buttons simultaneously once. On lever selectors, push the display mode button once. If the transmission does not include an oil level sensor, the selector enters the diagnostics mode. If the transmission is oil level sensor equipped, the display will either go into a numeric countdown while the system stabilizes, or it will show that the level is OK, or high or low by the indicated number of quarts. The selector might also display oil level sensor related diagnostic codes, which should be recorded and provided to the appropriate service personnel. Exit the oil level sensor mode on push-button selectors by pressing neutral. Exit the system on lever selectors by pressing the display mode button. Disconnect the drive line, or remove the drive axles, or lift the drive wheels off the ground when pushing or towing any Allison-equipped vehicle. Transmission damage will result if the transmission output shaft is turning without lubrication. If the vehicle becomes stuck, carefully attempt a rockout. With the engine at idle and the service brakes applied, select Drive. Release the brakes and slowly accelerate. Apply the brakes once the vehicle no longer moves forward. Allow the engine to return to idle. Then select Neutral. Then Reverse. Again, release the brakes and slowly accelerate until the vehicle no longer moves. Repeat the process as long as the vehicle is making gains in either or both directions. Always make range direction shifts from neutral. Never shift directly between drive and reverse. Pay particular attention to the transmission and engine cooling system temperatures. A stall condition occurs when the transmission is in range, throttle is applied, but the rear wheels are not moving. This creates high heat. Whenever necessary, cool the transmission by selecting neutral and running the engine at 1200 to 1600 RPM.
The push-button shift selector features reverse, neutral, and drive buttons, up and down arrow buttons, a diagnostic display mode button, and a dual-digit digital display window that identifies range, diagnostic codes, and oil levels. When you start the engine on your vehicle, the transmission's computer automatically selects neutral, and the digital display window shows NN for neutral. Select a gear, reverse or drive, by pushing the R or D button. The first number displayed is the highest forward range available, and the second number is the current range attained. The transmission will engage the lowest available forward gear. As you continue to drive, the transmission automatically selects gears based on engine RPM, throttle position, vehicle load, and road speed. Let's look at how to access some of the unique features available with the Allison Automatic Shift Selector. Allison automatic transmissions automatically make gear selection based on engine speed and load. However, you can manually control the upshifts and downshifts when it's necessary for safe driving in traffic or in certain road conditions. By pushing the up or down arrow keys on the keypad, you can upshift or downshift one gear at a time. The transmission will not allow you to select a range that will overspeed the engine. This helps avoid damage to the drivetrain. To downshift, gently release the pressure on the throttle and then press the down arrow on the keypad. This allows the engine to help slow down the vehicle one gear at a time. This is most useful if you are traveling down a steep grade or on slippery road conditions, such as ice, snow, or rain. Each time you push the down arrow, you will drop down one gear. Selecting a lower range often prevents cycling between ranges on a series of short up and down hills. To upshift, increase pressure on the throttle and push the up arrow key once for each upshift to a higher gear. This will help you attain your cruising speed. You can also push the D button. The transmission will automatically upshift into the highest attainable range based on engine speed and load. On motorhomes and general delivery trucks, Allison Automatics can offer primary and secondary shift schedules to enhance performance or fuel economy. The vehicle always starts in the primary mode. If your vehicle operates in the performance mode as the primary shift schedule, your secondary shift schedule will be economy mode, and vice versa. Your secondary shift schedule will be identified on your shift selector. In the economy mode, the transmission shifts gears at lower engine speed to allow the engine to operate in a more fuel-efficient range. You can switch to either the performance or the economy secondary shift schedule by pushing the mode button. In the performance mode, the transmission upshifts at higher engine speed. This gives you quick acceleration so you can effectively merge into traffic or onto a freeway. The performance mode provides the needed power for a longer period of time in each range. On utility, fire, emergency, refuse, and other specialized trucks, the mode button may be used to activate PTO functions, disallow forward-reverse range when the PTO is in operation, or to operate hydraulics. These functions are offered in special vocational programming packages tailored to truck usage. Your Allison Automatic also may be equipped with an oil level sensor, so you can identify the level of fluid in your transmission from the comfort of the driver's seat. Levels are identified in the digital display window on the shift selector. To enter the oil level display mode, put the transmission in neutral, apply the parking brake, and simultaneously press the up and down arrow buttons. The fluid level reading may be delayed until the following conditions are met. The fluid temperature is between 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and 104 degrees Celsius, 220 degrees Fahrenheit. The transmission is in neutral. The vehicle has been stationary for approximately 2 minutes to allow fluid to settle. The engine is at idle, below 1000 RPM, not a fast idle. The oil level data is displayed in the range window. OL followed by OK means the fluid level is correct. OL followed by LO, then 01 means the fluid level is 1 quart low. OL followed by H1, then 01 means the fluid level is 1 quart above the full transmission level. Additional fault codes may be encountered. Please refer to the Allison Shift Selector Operation and Code Manual for a complete listing of these codes. The electronic control system of your Allison automatic is programmed to inform the operator of a problem with the transmission system and automatically alert the operator. When the electronic control system detects a condition, it registers a diagnostic code. To enter the diagnostic mode, bring the vehicle to a complete stop. Apply the parking brake and then simultaneously press the up and down arrows twice if your transmission is equipped with the oil level sensor. Push once if your transmission is not equipped with the oil level sensor. The display will show 2 dashes if the diagnostic cycle was performed and no problems were found. If codes are present, the grouping of code positions will display in the gear range window. The code list position is the first item displayed, followed by the main diagnostic trouble code, and then the subcodes. Each item is displayed for about 1 second. The display cycles continuously until the next code list position is accessed by pressing the mode button. Up to 5 codes can be stored. If a listed code is active, the LED indicator next to the mode button will be illuminated. Consult your shift selector operation and code manual to identify the codes displayed. To clear both inactive and active codes, push and hold the mode button for approximately 10 seconds. The LED indicator flashes when the code clears. In the event of transmission failure, the transmission will fail to a given range, so you will be able to continue to drive the vehicle to safety. The lever shift selector features the reverse, neutral, drive, numerical gear ranges, a dual-digit digital display window that identifies highest available gear range and current range attained, diagnostic codes and oil levels, a mode button, and a diagnostic display mode button. Before you start the engine on your vehicle, you must move the lever to N. Select a gear, reverse or drive, by depressing the hold override button and moving the lever to the R or D position. The first number displayed is the highest forward range available, and the second number is the current range attained. The transmission will engage the lowest available forward gear. As you continue to drive, the transmission automatically selects gears based on engine RPM, throttle position, vehicle load, and road speed. Let's look at how to access some of the unique features available with the Allison Automatic Lever Shift Selector. Allison automatic transmissions automatically make gear selection based on engine speed, throttle position, vehicle load, and road speed. However, You can manually control the upshifts and downshifts when it is necessary for safe driving in certain traffic or road conditions by moving the lever. The transmission will not allow you to select a range that will overspeed the engine. This helps avoid damage to the drivetrain. To downshift, gently release the pressure on the throttle and then move the lever to the next lower gear. This allows the engine to help slow down the vehicle one gear at a time. This is most useful if you are traveling down a steep grade or facing slippery conditions such as in ice, snow, or rain. Selecting a lower range often prevents cycling between ranges on a series of short up and down hills. To upshift, increase pressure on the throttle and move the lever to a higher gear range. You can upshift one gear at a time to increase speed. This will help you attain your cruising speed. Or you can move the lever to the drive position, and the transmission